Good evening and welcome to Being One Show. My name is Ken Campbell and I'm grateful that you have chosen PrayerCaveTV to be your number one Christian station, and even more so this program where we discuss anything marriage matters. And so this evening we have prepared a wonderful episode for you, and I know you're going to be learning a lot, and especially in the area of intimacy in marriage. So take a pen and a paper even as we listen to our guest today as she takes us through that wonderful topic. But I want you to talk to us like you have been doing on our comment section right there on our Facebook, our YouTube channel, and even on that SMS line that is 0710 54 64 54. Tunataka kusikia kutoka kwako mahali ambapo unatutazamia, and how are you, how is your marriage faring on, especially on this topic that we are about to discuss today. And so karibu sana even as we listen and learn. Karibu sana our guest. Sasa wewe sitakuwa na kuita guest tena.
Yeah.
You have been one of us here. And so welcome.
Thank
and
you.
as always, looking amazing.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Yes, so today we have an amazing topic. And even before we go into it, maybe you can say hi to our new viewers. And people have been commenting right there on the comment section. Wamekuwa wakisema wanataka Mary. Yes.
Thank you so much. Good evening, Ken.
Good evening.
And praise God.
Amen.
Yeah, I want to say hi to everyone watching us this evening. It's really been amazing. You guys have been following this, and it's such an amazing thing to hear that it's reaching out and you're able to learn, and even eager and yearning for more to learn, and especially those that are already in marriage, and even those who are preparing to be, and even learning for the sake of someone outside there. So I want to congratulate all of you, and I want to appreciate all of you for having to follow us on this episode, Issues and Matters Marriage. It's really encouraging. And we'll continue on talking about this until our marriage become the best.
That's true.
As we enjoy it. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Did you say your name?
My name is Mary Ngige, and I'm glad once again in PrayerCaveTV. I had said that I work at Word of Faith Community College. That's where I teach counseling psychology and other college on part-time basis. And I also talked of, I work with Kenya Huduma, and I work as a counselor. So if you're inquiring for counseling services, you can call us 1919, and I'll be there to help you together with the rest of the team. So that's me. I'm a mother of 2 boys. I stay at Utawala, and I'm glad to be a counselor and talking counseling matters. That's me, and we'll continue to interact.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, and welcome again.
Thank you.
Now let us get into it and discuss this matter. What is intimacy in the first place? When we are talking, when somebody says that word intimacy, I know there are others who think something different from the others. Probably today we can define it.
Okay, so we are picking intimacy in marriage today as we discuss it. And as I would want to describe the word intimacy, because when people confuse intimacy with sex, but intimacy, it means being close and emotionally connected to your partner. So when you're emotionally connected and you're close to one another, you're supporting each other, there is intimacy. So it's the aspect of being close and emotionally connecting. That is intimacy. And it is very key in marriage.
So but when now it becomes physical, it now becomes
when now it becomes physical, now it means there is a connection with the touch. Maybe like hugs, like kiss. We'll be talking about different forms of intimacy, and physical being one of it, where there is involvement of touch. You get to have an attachment through the connection and being close. And there are so many ways that you're going to discuss of how to be close to one another and emotionally close. Because a marriage with people who are not close, then they may suffer. They may not feel the love and they may not feel like they are together. That's why it is important for a marriage to have intimacy. Yeah.
Wow. So what comes first? Is it love or intimacy, or intimacy has love in it? What happens?
I think for me, I can say it's first love, because when you're in love with somebody, there is how now you work together to be coming close, to be connected,
to become one.
Yeah.
Wow.
But you can't be able when now you've not loved somebody.
That's true.
And now that's where we are talking about intimacy in marriage, because these are people who already have fallen in love. They have decided we need to be together. But then, do they have the intimacy? Are they able to connect and be close to one another?
True.
Yeah.
True. Should we condemn then intimacy before marriage?
Intimacy before marriage?
Yes. Is there something like that?
There's no intimacy before marriage, because it means there is no connection that you have with that person.
Okay.
Probably you can feel, yes, intimate to somebody, where you feel like you're close to the person.
Yes.
But basically it's when people are already together, because that is one thing you need to grow each and every day.
Oh, yeah.
The more you stay with a person, the more you become intimate with the person.
Oh, yeah.
And I usually also say that intimacy is much more of what you do, not what you say. Because now when you're married, what are you doing with your partner to increase the relationship, or to have that kind of an enhancement?
That's true.
So it's much more, intimacy is much more of what you do rather than what you say.
What you say.
The actions bit of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, because there have been, people not understanding this term. Let me use a bit of biology. It's a terminology. This terminology, intimacy, people have been using it, in places or even in areas that it's not shouldn't be used. And so that's why I'm trying to push into it that way, so that we can get our viewers to get exactly what it means, and especially in marriages. And so we are saying there is no intimacy before marriage. There it's all about getting to know one another on the basis, right?
Yeah, it works best when already someone is in marriage, or maybe in a serious relationship. Probably maybe you're dating, or courtship. So you can also be intimate with the person that is with you. But we want it much more in the marriage, because they can be able to develop it and grow in it, because we say marriage is a lifelong journey.
That's true.
So how do we accommodate each other? So the aspect of intimacy is very key. The more you become intimate, the more you're able to connect with your partner, and you enjoy the marriage.
That's true.
So intimacy is much more looked into as an advantage in a marriage, because I usually say a marriage without intimacy, it's likely to fade.
That's
true.
true.
You get tired, you get bored, you're not enjoying this, and you feel like you're worn out. But when there is intimacy, it's a day you look up to every day, to see the person, to be with the person.
Wow.
So it is very key in marriage, and marriages without intimacy, they shake.
They shake.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. And so let's get into marriage. And what does intimacy involves in marriages?
So number one, intimacy also involves the emotional bit of it. So what we call the emotional intimacy. And this is where you're sharing your feelings and your thoughts and your desires with your partner. Like, how am I feeling this morning? How am I feeling this day? And then what am I thinking? Probably about you, about this marriage, even about the children. So that aspect of sharing how you're thinking and you're feeling and the desires you have, it's about emotional intimacy, which we need to have. And then we also have the physical intimacy. That one is the one I was saying that it involves touch. Physical intimacy, there is the aspect of touch. Maybe like hugs, having hugs together, something like kissing together and massaging each other. And even having sex, and also messages. I also put message as physical intimacy. because you need to be intimate via messages.
True.
Yeah, it brings that aspect of having now to get to have the contact.
Yes.
Yeah. So does your marriage have physical intimacy where there is the involvement of touch?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
And then another one, we have the financial intimacy. That's another one.
Yes.
We need to be having intimacy financially, whereby we are able to discuss our finances, we are able to share the things that we have on the table, we're able to have a plan together. So when we discuss our finances together, we are having that kind of financial intimacy, which is also very beneficial in the marriage. And then there is the spiritual intimacy. You know, there are quite a number.
Yeah.
Spiritual intimacy. Now, this one is when you're sharing your religious and your beliefs. Maybe you're attending like prayers meeting, you're sharing a word. Maybe as a family or as partners, you're going to fellowships, you know, and you're able to pray together and support each other. So the spiritual intimacy, it really also works well, especially for the Christians. And even one partner, if he's not maybe a Christian, you can still encourage to have those moments where you can pray together, share a word together, go to fellowships, you know, anything that involves the spiritual belief and the working together for enhancing the spiritual bit. So one partner, if your partner is not, you can enhance that, and that makes the people to come together and have that connection. Then there is the recreational intimacy. This is where you spend time with your partner or your spouse through activities and events.
Yes.
Maybe kuna ka wedding, ama maybe kuna mahali mmeitwa, kuna ka ceremony. You know, you just have time to go with your partner. So that is recreational intimacy. And sometimes there are those partners who bond very well on that, whereby if there is any occasion or some kind of event, they're able to walk out together, and that enhances the intimacy between the relationship. Then there is the intellectual intimacy. There are quite a number.
Yes.
For intellectual, or what I call mental intimacy, here you're discussing important areas that involve the marriage, like important plans that you have for the marriage, the projects maybe you're carrying through in the marriage that you're already in, and you're doing all this together. Yani kuna project lakini si mtu mmoja na run. We are doing it together. So that kind of a recreational intimacy where you're building yourself to work with the projects that you have for the marriage, it also brings that closeness and intimacy with the marriage. And then the last one is experiential intimacy. And here again, it's doing activities together. I think we had talked about this previously.
We did.
Where you do things together, like you're cooking together, you're doing cleaning in the house together, you're going dinner together, you know, anything that you do together, taking a nature walk together, that is what we call experiential intimacy. So I don't know where you are in terms of all that and where maybe you have failed that you need to check. But intimacy is so wide. It is that moment where you can have you together coming and connecting, either to do something together that involves us.
True.
You know, marriage is, we said it's an institution that is carrying a lot of activities and things in it.
So Madam Mary, you mean even when you're taking us through all that those types, I can see the aspect of sharing. So that means you cannot do these, you know, just by yourself. You have to do it as a couple.
For it to be a complete intimacy, there has to be the involvement of the two people. Each person is playing their part. If you're talking, like, for example, about finances, you don't expect one to discuss the finances and you're not discussing on your end.
That's true.
And that's why we talked about the issue of trust and commitment.
That's true.
Because that is what carries a marriage. So when it comes to intimacy, it's about you and me coming together as we agree. Kuna kitu like we have to agree because we agree so that we connect and we become close. So when intimate, we are close. When it comes to finances, we are close. When it comes to the projects that we have, we are close and we are able to work together. So it's an assignment for the both partners.
That's true.
Yeah, to do.
So there you have our viewers. It's not about, you know, you doing it by yourself, but it's about the two of you. Actually, marriage is becoming one.
Yeah.
It's two people involved, but you become one.
Yeah.
And this is all about intimacy. And so let's bring in the application of all this into a marriage setup. Yes.
Okay, how we can apply it.
Yes.
So number one, I think what I need to do is I want to give an acronym for the word intimate. That small word, intimate. Right. So I want to describe it in terms of every letter. So letter number one is I, which stands for intentional. When it comes to intimacy, it's about being intentional.
True.
So it's just about doing, not saying. I had said that.
Yes.
So you have to intend to do it. You intend to do it.
Yes.
It is so intentional. When it means like becoming emotionally close, you have to intend to decide to do it.
Yes.
It is so intentional. So for you to have intimacy, you have to be intentional, meaning you have to intend to do something. As you're saying, it's not about saying, it's about doing.
Yes.
That's why we are saying it's a two-way thing. Lazima kila mtu I intend to do something about it.
True.
So for intimacy, there has to be the aspect of being intentional in what you do with your partner.
Yes.
The next letter is N. And I give it a representation of the word needs. You know, there are needs that needs to be met for each and every partner within the marriage.
Yes.
And I usually say that needs are not just the physical needs. You know, like the way you provide basic needs, food and what have you. We need to know what is, like I need to know what is my partner's needs.
Yes.
You know, nini anahitaji. And sometimes here people need to study the love map. Maybe you can discuss about love map another time.
True.
Because I need to know what is the need that my partner have.
Yes.
Najua wakati mwingine I may provide something to you and probably that is not what you needed.
That's true.
Like for example, there's a lady who was telling me that when she went to get a child, she needed the husband to come and see her in the hospital.
Yeah.
But the husband had decided to do a gift, like buy her a car.
Okay.
So after hospital akuje, I received the car as a gift. But she was not surprised because she did not want that. She needed the man to be present, not about the gift.
Yeah.
So do you know what your partner need? That is intimacy. So knowing what your partner needs is intimacy, and so meeting that need. Yeah.
Wow.
The other one is about trust.
Okay.
Tuko at T. So it's about trust. We need to learn how to trust each other.
Yes.
And when there's no trust, then intimacy can become tough for us. We are not able to trust one another. We are not able to be faithful. We are not able to trust each other or even become loyal to one another.
True.
So let us work every time to make sure that we can trust each other, because we said we have to come together, both of us, to be intimate.
Yeah.
And so if you don't trust each other, you don't have trust with your partner, it becomes hard to be intimate.
Yes.
So trust is another one that carries intimacy. The other letter is interest. You need to know what your partner is interested in or what are their interests.
Yeah.
Na hiyo ndo tulikuwa tunasema hata wakati you're dating, good to know your partner anapenda nini. Nini namu-excitingi. You know, like for you love swimming. For me, I like doing bicycles, maybe, or taking a nature walk. And maybe for you, you'd want to do something to enjoy. Like for example, let me give a personal example.
Yes.
My late husband used to love driving, especially at night. I don't know what was that about.
Okay.
So every time he wanted to walk out, he wanted me to accompany him.
Yeah.
And sometimes I didn't used to like want to do it, but because I knew it is his interest, it's something that he loved to do. So I used to accompany him.
Yes.
You know, to his interest.
True.
Then again, for me, there's what I used to love. Like I used to love to have nature walks.
Okay.
So saa zingine namwambia nataka kutembea. So again, for him now, he has to come and accommodate.
Yeah.
When you know your partner's interest, you're able to easily get yourself there. Hata kama saa zingine upendi. There's a time alikuwa napenda football sana.
Okay.
So akanipeleka somewhere we go watch. Na nile unaenda wacha tu niende. Juu mimi si fan wa football. But because that is what interests him, I am able to carry on with him. So when you're able to know your partner's interest, you're able to sacrifice yourself to walk along with the person's interest. Jua ni nini napendezanga partner yako. Kama ni kwenda walk, enda tu na yeye, si ati wewe unataka. And when you do it together, intimacy inakuwa enhanced, and that is about the interest.
True.
The other one, in the intimate, it's letter M.
Yes.
And this is managing your emotions. Hapa ma feelings hapo sasa ndio inakuanga issue. Because sometimes if you don't manage our emotions, we hinder the intimacy in us. Unajua, if you're not able to deal with your emotions, sometimes I'm projecting so much on you.
Yes.
So inaletanga hiyo barrier ama hindrances where it makes us not to connect.
True.
So we need to learn how to manage our emotions. When you're angry, know how to manage it. When you're sad, know how to work out that. Because we are emotional human beings, and there are things that makes us to be emotional.
Yes.
So learning how to manage your emotions as an individual without infringing a lot of pain on your partner, it is part of the intimacy. True. So ukijua ku manage emotions, there's a way it helps you to be intimate with your partner. True. When your partner is feeling bad or sad or guilt, are you able to understand? And again, are you able to manage your emotions so that you don't keep throwing words and actions that portrays our emotions? Tujue ku manage emotions. We are emotional being, but we need to know how to manage our emotions. True. That is also an area to work on in the intimacy. The other one is advancement. Bado tuko kwa ile acronym, tuko at A. Advancement, this one means building each other. Unasikia, the word is each other. Again, it's a two-way thing. Ni kujenge na wewe unijenge. That's true. Do you do something to your partner to build them? Unajenganga partner yako na unamjenga aje. I love the way my husband, before he passed on, alinisukuma niende shule, nika advance my degree. And I kept on giving reasons. Oh, my baby is small, si ugoje. He went and paid school fees, akaniletea receipt.
Oh my.
Meaning, the guy was intentional to build me.
True.
He wanted me to advance. So the question I can pose to us is, what do you do to build your partner? Anaweza kaa aseme ni nini umemfanyia ama umempeleka level gani. We need to build each other. True. So that is advancement. And then the other one is T, which is time. We have to be deliberate when it comes to time. Yes. How we manage our time. Do we have quality time for each other? Do you sacrifice yourself to give your partner time? Do you have moments where you say, this time I need to give to my partner? You know, so we need to know how to plan our time, know how to manage our time so that we can be able to achieve our goals. I usually say that a marriage has got goals. Now, if we need to achieve these goals, then it means we need to be very articulate when it comes to time management. Because if we are poor time managers, then we are able not to achieve our goals. That's true. So we give each other time, and then we maximize on the use of our time. Masaa ni muhimu sana. Iyo ku waste time, it doesn't build us. And also make the marriage to grow. Time management is very key. And then the other one, which is the last, is E. From the word intimate, is about exclusivity. Exclusivity means that you can do away other things for the sake of your partner. You know, because you need to focus, you need to concentrate, and you need to be there. So sometimes kuna vitu una omit in your life for the sake of your partner. So you become intentionally exclusive, such that you can put away any other things. Sometimes you can put away even people. I don't say that we exclude ourselves from the people, but do you sacrifice for the sake of your partner and this marriage? So we need to be very exclusive. We let go sometimes things for the sake of this. That's true. So intimate is about that. Being intentional, meeting one's needs, being able to trust one another, being able to understand your partner's interest, managing our emotions, growing one another, that is advancement, time management, and also exclusivity. Iyo jina, it's very key, intimate.
Wow. I think our viewers have heard it now at this level. Wameshiba kabisa. And now we are going to take a short break. They take a cup of tea because of that. Because that is amazing. That acronym, intimate, it's amazing. And there is so much that I know if we even had time, we could elaborate on each one of them bit by bit. Ndio tu, lakini tutaendelea. After this, Madam Mary, we are going to be, discussing what are the impacts, of intimacy in marriages. And my viewer, it will be amazing for you. You're going to keep learning, so don't go any far, or rather don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this break. See you. Welcome back, our viewer. Thank you so much for keeping it PrayerCave TV, and even for keeping it being one show. My name is Ken Campbell once again, and if you have missed the part 1 of this, I am recommending you that you go, a little bit back. You'll catch up with us, but also you find it on our YouTube channel and our Facebook channel, because that part 1 was fully packed with insight, with knowledge, wisdom, all those things, and especially for your marriage and on the area of intimacy, and especially that acronym. If you missed it, just go a few minutes ago, and you're going to find it. But now let's get karibu sana.
Asante.
We get back to intimacy in marriage, and we want to find out now what are the impacts that comes with intimacy.
Yeah, there are quite a number of the importance or the impact of intimacy in marriage. Like, why are we talking about this and why we need to have it? So, like, number one, we are able to achieve and grow together. Like one of the acronyms that you have just mentioned about advancement, where you're building each other. So if you continue with that progressively, then you're able to grow together. Because I usually say when you grow your partner, it also makes your marriage grow. So you grow with your partner, you make each other grow, and so you're able to grow together and so grow the marriage. That is one impact and the benefit of intimacy. The other one is that it increases the satisfaction of the relationship. You're in a relationship and you can feel, yani unasikia ni kama ulifika yani tu
content.
You're comfortable. There is that aspect of feeling you belong. Kuna hiyo satisfaction because you are able to walk together. Then you're also able to have better sex. We talked about one type of intimacy is the physical intimacy, where there is involvement of touch. So when you continue to have intimacy that makes you come close together, emotionally connected, then it enhances sex in the marriage. And we all know that sex is very important. So wakati watu wanapata wako na changamoto ya sex, maybe you don't frequently have it, then it shows that you've not been intimate. There are things you're not doing that draws you together. So one thing I see improve is about sex life. And when I talk to marriages and I find they have struggles and issues of sex, I teach them intimacy. Those things that they need to do to boost their closeness that brings the aspect of sex, and they enjoy the sex life. Then the other one, they're able to move on with life, and then they're able to support each other. When there is intimacy, you're able to support each other. Hakuna venye utaona partner wako anaanguka unamuwatch tu. So you're able now to support your partner to raise maybe kama ni challenges, to overcome those challenges. One way we said of becoming intimate is becoming emotionally intimate. Meaning we are able to discuss our emotions. Kama ako drained emotionally, unamsaidia. Kama kuna kitu namsumbua, unamsaidia. So it makes you to support each other. And then it builds a lot of trust and respect. Wakati intimacy yenyu iko optimum, there is the feeling of feeling like you trust the person, and also the respect. Because pia ni kama mko na hizo boundaries, and then you're able to know your part. We've been talking about roles and rules in marriages. So na pia hiyo inahusika intimacy, you know, iko hapo. So we are able now to respect each other and have trust with one another.
True.
Then the other one I also see that brings the best out of intimacy, you're able to overcome your stress and depression. A marriage that is suffering, the last time we talked about stress and depression.
Yes.
If a marriage is suffering stress and depression, intimacy iko far away from them. They need to get it back. So when there is intimacy, because you know, like when you're stressed and you're depressed, you're able to work again together. Hii shida tutaifanya aje? How do you overcome this? But if we don't have intimacy, it's like we're giving a room for stress and depression to come and have a seat in your home.
That's true.
So intimacy helps deal with that, and that's why we are talking about this. It also increases the bond and it boosts our self-esteem. Self-esteem is about the confidence. Like if maybe I am here as a lady or a woman in this house, then niko na confidence. Like I feel I belong. I feel I can deal with issues. Ina raise our confidence. Like if you come on, take time to build on me. Like there's one thing I usually remember of my husband. Alikuwa ananiambia hata ukipangwa line na wanawake 10, wewe uko very strong. You know, you're a strong woman. But I couldn't understand what he meant by that. But what he meant by that, he was doing, not just saying it, but doing it. Because he took me back to school, akabuild on me. So when he left, now I was able to see the woman he was talking about through what he has done to build me and through what he used to tell me. And it made me to now believe in myself. That is one thing actually I appreciate him for. The fact that he built on me, he encouraged me, and that gave me the confidence. And that's why even I can talk before people. But initially I was so reserved. So quiet. I was feeling shame on me, you know, kale kawoga. But when he showed me that you're the best, mtu anakuambia ukipangwa line na wanawake 10, wewe uko mbele sana. What is that person telling you? That he is believing in you. He know you can make it. And out of that, now I'm able to believe in myself. So let us continue to be intimate so that we can build on each other confidence and raise their self-esteem. Tusikuwe ni sisi wa kuleta self-esteem na confidence chini. The other one is that it reduces the fear of unknown. Last time when we were discussing about stress and depression, one of the things tuliona is the fear of unknown. We are in this marriage, but we have the fear of unknown. We don't know what is going to unfold in the future. We don't know what is going to happen tomorrow to our children and all of that. So when we learn to be intimate, we are able now to deal with the fear of unknown. Why? Because we are able to address the fears that we have. Na hiyo kitu nasemanga sana kwa marriage. It's good you sit down with your partner and know what is your partner's fears. So that you can help address both of your fears together. To be able to overcome. Some of the obstacles I see with marriage, they are not able to grow. How addressing it, they don't discuss their fears. What is your partner's fears? What is my partner's fear? You know, your self-fear. And then you're able to bring them on the table and discuss them. Otherwise, if you don't discuss our fears, tutaendelea kuwa na fear of unknown. So we are in a marriage, but you're not so sure about the marriage tomorrow. Unakaa ni kama you're not so sure. And that one makes someone to feel like haujaifika. So address fears. It's very important in the marriage, and you know how to overcome the fears. So intimacy helps people to overcome the fear of unknown. Why? Because when we are intimate, we are able to share our emotions, our feelings, and our thoughts about the whole thing. There's quite a number of the importance and the impact of intimacy in marriage. That's why we need to address this now and then. We need to be intimate so that there is what comes out of that in this relationship that you are saying it's a lifelong relationship. Hatuwezi maliza zote. Those are the major ones.
Wow. And when you are talking to us on that point, you mentioned about obstacles. You know, what are the obstacles that, you know, are hindering intimacy in marriages?
Yeah, because that could be now the tricky bit about the people in a relationship. Maybe unataka intimacy ikue, but unaona kuna vitu zinazuia. You see, we say intimacy is when you're coming close, emotionally connected with your partner. So some of the obstacles and challenges could be like when you're having issues of stress. We discussed stress last time. Kukiwa na stress, we will find it hard to be intimate. So you see now it's like we need to address the stress and depression we overcome to be able to be intimate. So that is one thing I see people having as an obstacle. Maybe umekuwa kwa hiyo marriage with a lot of stress, maybe your partner has been stressing you up. Then how do you become intimate? You know, you're not coming together. You're rather going away from each other. So that is one obstacle, but I tell people to deal with their stress and depression. It's the effect, because this takes to another and another. The other thing I see as an obstacle is loss and grief. We've been talking about loss and grief. I see when people they are grieving, kuna venye mtu anakuanga in their own world. That's why I was teaching when we talked about loss and grief. Know your partners how they grieve. So that you not have an issue with how they grieve, because we grieve very unique because we are different. So grief is one of another obstacle that I see. And then there are people who have fear of intimacy.
Oh my.
Just fear of being intimate. And maybe in time we'll also be talking about our childhood upbringing. Kuna vitu huko in your childhood upbringing hujai overcome. Like the other day you're talking about trauma. So unresolved trauma can make people not to be intimate. Yes, you want to be intimate, but hiyo inazuia. So we'll be discussing about how you were brought up in your childhood and how it affects you in the marriage. And one of it is about intimacy. So unapata kuna watu wako na hiyo fear of intimacy. You're fearing to even draw close to your partner. So, and that's what I'm saying, and I'll say again and again, we work out our fears. Because it prevents us, actually fear prevents us from so many things, not only about intimacy in marriage. So when you overcome fear, there are things you can be able to reach to and achieve your goals. Other things are like communication breakdown. If you are not talking, how will we be connected? Tukinyamaziana a whole week, do you expect us to be intimate? Communication again. So we have to improve communication to improve our intimacy. The other one is about the low self-esteem. Kuna watu tuko confidence zetu ziko chini sana. And there's a test I usually run to help you know the level of your confidence. Like I can even tell you in a scale of 1 to 10, how would you scale your confidence? Iko wapi? In a scale of 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest, 5 at the middle. In terms of the confidence, where are you? Because that is a technique that can help you know your level of confidence. Do ujue kama uko 5 below or 5 upwards, lakini usikue 10. Nasamanga 10 is being overconfident, which is also another issue. It's a problem. Kukua overconfident.
I almost said I'm 10. I almost said
isikue 10 you're overconfident. Maybe you can be at 7, 8, 9. That to me is a healthy level of confidence. Lakini mtu wako 10, hiyo ni overconfidence. I'll help you now deal with that. And then I also say usikue 5 below. 5 below, then it means you need to work on yourself to boost your confidence. So kila mtu ajisikie ajue level yake ya confidence iko wapi. So that kama iko chini, we need to boost it up. So when we boost our esteem, we are able to be having that intimacy. So watu wengine esteem yao na confidence ikiwa chini, they're not able to experience this intimacy. So to boost our confidence. And how, by the way, do we boost them? We are able to do the self-care, self-love, things that you validate yourself, you feel good, so your confidence is able to raise high. There are quite a number of obstacles. Zingine ni kama rejection. Ukisuffer rejection, itakuwa hard for you to be intimate. Others is about exhaustion. Maybe unachoka kazi yenye unafanyanga, yani hauna time ya kukua na time na mtu. So that's why I was saying about the time management. As much as there are those things that you're doing, manage your time so that unajua kuna time ya your partner. Because the time ya your partner means we are able to come together and be intimate. And then issues of infidelity. They are usually very common in marriage and family. Na imekuwa it's a disease. So that one is an obstacle for people to become intimate. Kama watu hawako faithful. Unakuwa faithful na mtu wa uko nje, you know. You will get it wrong when it comes to your partner. So issues, your infidelity, people need to work them out, because we can never be intimate when someone is not faithful in their marriage. So that is also another thing that I see. The other one is about resentment na anger. Kuna watu wanakuanga na unresolved anger. Unakuwa umebeba anger, your heart is so heavy, you're not open to your partner. Because ukiwa na a lot of anger in you, it prevents you to have intimacy with your partner. There are quite a number of things people need to work out in order to experience this intimacy. So that you can be feeling this. You know, you can feel the intimacy in the marriage.
Yeah, you can.
You can always feel it. Okay, we may not be able to maintain, but you can always feel when there is intimacy. How? When you're always close together, you can talk, you're happy together, you know, you are laughing together, and you're enjoying together. Ukijua mko together, ujue level ya intimacy iko juu. Lakini ukirealize mko kama maji na mafuta, hampatani, intimacy iko mbali. We need to bring it back, because it has to be in the marriage for you to enjoy it.
Wow. You also mentioned something, you know, close related to this question. How do we boost this intimacy? Because we want it. We've seen you've told us the many benefits that it comes with it. So how do we boost it, especially for us when you to see I mean when you ziko chini kidogo,
wale tuna feel like iko a bit low. And we don't want, maybe kama iko pia tutaki iende. You know, how do we boost and how do we maintain so that we can continually to have to experience it? So one thing I usually say is that you need to learn to appreciate your partner. You show appreciation. Una appreciate your partner. That aspect of appreciating your partner boosts the intimacy, and you're able to continue. Another thing I say is you keep on redefining intimacy. Kuna watu nafanyanga counseling wako in marriage. Kuna wakati inafikanga na wauliza, by the way, tell me what is marriage. Because when I listen to them, they have lost the meaning of marriage. You're in marriage, but umesahau what is marriage. So what I can say about intimacy again here is, if you feel like you're losing it, how you can boost the intimacy, you need to redefine intimacy. Na sasa kwa ile acronym, get back there so that you can assess yourself. Know what is to be intimate. So ukielewa hiyo, utaboost intimacy in your marriage. We redefine it. Like the way I would ask you, by the way, why are you in marriage? You know, there are people in marriage, but they don't clearly know why. Maybe you are made to be, you know, or you're in a marriage because other people are in marriage. You know, why are you in that marriage? And so you're able to understand why and the essence of it. So same case with intimacy. What is it? Because you're saying it needs to be there. That takes you back and it boosts your intimacy. The other thing we need to do to boost is quality time together. We had talked about that acronym. Time. Time. Maximize time with your partner. The more you give time to your partner, the more we become intimate. The more we draw away in terms of time, the more intimacy yetu ina fade away. So we remember about time. And then the other thing is that we have more sex. Not once in a month. You know, it's good to have heavy patterns of sex in the marriage. Not once in a year, one in a blue moon. That one makes people to, the more you have sex by the way for marriage, we may have a topic for another day about sex in marriage. The more you are having sexual contact with your partner, the more you draw together and the more you're able to be intimate. So frequent sex in the marriage makes people to be more intimate. I usually say those who have it oftenly are likely to have high levels of intimacy. So we remember about that. And then we learn to trust each other. We have talked about trust. And then we also need to meet each other's needs. We had talked about that. Understand your partner's interest. Ni nini inamfurahishanga. You know, hii ni kazi ya kila mtu. Ni wewe unijue, mimi nikujue. That's why we said it's an assignment for both. Hakuna intimacy ya mtu mmoja. It is about you, me, coming together to know each other, grow each other, and express our gratitude. Tuzoea kusema sorry, thank you, those gratitude thing, excuse me, you know.
Yes.
Lakini ni we unarusha mikono, it draws the person away.
It does.
Na hakuna mtu hapendi kupendwa. Hiyo ndio kitu nasemanga. There's no one who would wish to always be told nasty things. Uta enjoy. So everybody want to feel appreciated, they want to feel loved, they want to feel like you're not judgmental to them, you're accommodating them and giving them a healthy environment, which is about the marriage. So give each other a healthy environment, conducive environment. Ndio asikae kwa hiyo nyumba na amejaa baridi, and then you expect you guys to be intimate. Make a home. I usually say, even I was teaching somewhere yesterday about parenting. And I was telling parents, when we are parenting with our children, we need to make them feel that this home is warm. Kuna warmth, kuna love. Si ile unasikia mtoto anaenda kwa neighbor, unashindwa nini anaendanga kufanya huko. Labda kwako kumejaa baridi. So we make our home warm. We make our home feel that there is love. So a child is able to thrive in that environment. Same case with the marriage. When you're in that marriage, make sure that your partner is having a conducive environment. It's not a cold home. Unajua kuna nyumba zingine baridi. Hata wewe ukiingia unasikia baridi na kuchapa. So let us make sure that our home is warm, there is love, and it's a conducive environment. Hata your partner akiingia na feel, yes, I'm already at home. So there are quite a number of things. You also need to be a friend to your partner.
Of course.
Hamtakuwa intimate if you're not friends. So kama mko enemies, kwanza mkuwe friends to be intimate.
True.
Your partner in the marriage is your first friend.
Wow.
So make the friendship continue. The more you're friends, the more you're intimate.
Wow.
And coming together. There are quite a number of things we need to do. So unaona assignment iko kwa kila mtu. So what I can say is that what are you doing? What are you doing to make sure that there is intimacy in the marriage? Or are you pointing finger at your partner where also you're also not doing something? So it's a two-way thing. So if you're learning this and maybe you need to teach your partner, if you're both, I know you're benefiting out of this. On how we need to boost it. Because it is healthy and it needs to be part of the marriage.
That's true.
Wow.
Wow. I know there's so many people right there. And by the way, let us put it this way. That if you're watching this alone, then you're not being intimate. You need to call your partner. Ama umtumie hiyo link.
Ama mpigie simu.
Yes. Mwambie there is something for us here. And it will be... Now, Mary, before I even go there, you mentioned something to do with childhood experiences.
Yes.
I know this can be a whole topic. But maybe, in few words, tell us how, it affects intimacy.
Okay.
Just a little bit.
For that, when I talk about the childhood experiences and how it can affect intimacy, allow me to give a personal experience so that it's quite clear.
True.
For me, I came in a hostile environment. My dad was an alcoholic. So we are in this family where we used to run. Yani tukimuona ni mtu ujisaidie. So we used to take supper by 6. So that by the time he's coming, hata tukikimbia tumekula supper. I was in that environment. But that time I was around class 2. So I was a small girl. If it happens akuje kama hatujapika, the food we are not going to eat. Inachapwa huko chini. So I grew up with a lot of fear. And again, he used to abuse me a lot, like call me bad names. He tells me he's going to hang me on a tree. You know, how do you tell your child that? The child now grows with a lot of fear. So what I saw now that transferring now to the marriage, when I got married, number one, I didn't know how is to serve a man. Because you see, I never saw that when I was growing. Ni mtu akule mapema ajisaidie. So I've never seen my mom like serve my dad. So when I got into the marriage, how is it to serve a man? So wakati mwingine ulikuwa naona yeye anajiserve. It's because of the environment I was coming. Sikukata, And for him, it was totally different. For them, there was that the parents were intimate. Yani they were so close. Even when the dad would come, ametoka job, watoto wanaamshwa wakule kenye baba yao amekuja nayo. You see, it's different from me.
Totally different.
So he was like that now in the marriage.
Yes.
You know, anashughulikia kila mtu. But me, I was like, tumekula, tumemaliza, ndo nakumbuka yeye hajafika na hajakula. But yeye anataka tumgoje, tukule pamoja.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is we also need to understand where we are coming from, our background. Because that is another thing that we will struggle when it comes to marriage. Tunajaribu yes kukua closed, but juu ya mambo umepitia huko, inafanya ikue hard. You see, like, it is not intentional. He wants us to wait for him. We eat together.
Yes.
You know, we pray together.
True.
But where I have come from, it was like Masai.
Yeah.
So sometimes inakujanga unconsciously. You don't intend to do that. Yeah. But it's about the past. So we'll be discussing about how our past affects our marriage today. And so we can see it also affects the intimacy. True. Unless if you have awareness to work on it and improve. So at some point I had to tell my husband, it's about where you have come from. Yes. Na mimi. It's totally different. So he was able to understand that it's not that I'm refusing. It is something that, you know, mtoto amegrow na hiyo, hajaifunzwa, hajaiona. So he was able to understand that. And I also was able to understand him. Saa zingine, tulikuwa tunatry to complement each other. Saa zingine anafanya intentional. You know what we are saying, being intentional. Na mgojea akuje tukule pamoja. But it wasn't easy. Ni kitu nafanya intentionally. Yes. Yeah, but we keep on improving with time. So we understand each other's background so that we can see what are we struggling in when it comes to intimacy about the past.
That's true.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Thank you for that example. And because of time and we are about to close this show, maybe we can mention a few Bible verses because we have to bring people back to Jesus.
Yeah.
Yes, even in marriages.
Sure.
So a few scriptures because of time element, and then we'll continue in the next one.
Okay. Yes. So when I look at intimacy, I usually love to refer everything from the Bible. There are Bible verses that I get that encourages on that line of intimacy. One, maybe we can check Genesis 2:24. 5, where it says, a man shall leave his father and mother and shall be able to come together to unite and make one flesh. True. You know, mtu anaacha anakuja tunakuwa one. You can check that. So intimacy is about that. Yes. We have come together, so we have to be one. And that's about intimacy. Wow. So when we check Ephesians 4:32, it says, be kind and compassionate to one another, forgive each other just as Christ has forgiven you. So intimacy, we need to forgive each other. Tusibeba hizo grudge, we be intentional in forgiving one another. I also check Ephesians 5:33 that says, however, each one of you also must love his wife as he loved himself, and the wife must respect her husband. True. So hiyo verse tunaijua sana. For intimacy to prevail, we need to remind ourselves this verse, that we need to respect as wife, and then for the men, they need to love. Nyinyi ndo mnafaa mlove na sisi to respect. Then Colossians 3:14 is, above all, clothe yourself with love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony. True. So at a Bible in acknowledge love. Yes. And love means now being intimate. Yes. We can't have love when there's no intimacy. So the lessons I get from this Bible verse is that it makes us to be one. We are supposed to be one. We're supposed to be kind and compassionate with one another, and we need to love each other. Na hiyo ni intimacy. You love me, I love you back. It's a two-way traffic. Wow. Yeah, so tupendane na tukue na hiyo kindness and being compassionate in the relationship that enhances this marriage to be perfect.
True.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Madam Mary, asanti sana.
Thank you.
Najua tungeendelea sana, especially for me. I want more. I want to hear more.
Yeah.
Because of time, programming time that we have been given, allow us to reach at that point. But maybe there's someone right there outside you saying, I want to meet Mary because I want us to discuss something in our marriage. Maybe you can talk to them and tell them where they can find you.
Okay. Having to listen this, and maybe you'd want much more of this, maybe there's an area you need to work on or get an assistance, probably you can get me. Easier way to get me is using my cell phone number. That is 0715 235 388. 0715 235 388. When you call on that number, wherever I am, I'll be able to respond, maybe book for sessions for therapy as a couple or maybe as an individual, because I say even you can come as an individual representing your marriage if not able to come the two of you. So you can reach me on that. You can also check me on Facebook at Mary Wanjiro, and also in YouTube, Mary Gige, psychologist. If you need me, then you can also call me from Huduma. I usually say that because that's where I work. So I have to also let the clients know that you can call 1919 and say you want services for counseling. We'll be able to help you if you come through Huduma way. And I'll be looking forward to assist you. I know you've been reaching, people have been reaching out and I've been assisting them. Thank you for trying to reach out, because when you share your issue, I usually say it is halfway solved.
That's true.
Yeah, so reach out and we'll be able to be of great help to you. Otherwise, thank you for watching and following these matters of marriage.
That's true. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.